First, we're going to take a look at just what we're going to cover in this training so you've got a good overview. We're going to talk a little bit about what outbound marketing is, just in case you don't have a good idea yet of what that term means and what we're talking about when we say outbound marketing. For some of you, this may be a little bit of a recap and maybe something you've already heard before, but I just want to make sure everybody's got a good understanding of what we mean by outbound marketing. We're going to talk about why most people fail with organic outbound. We're going to talk about a lot of those pitfalls that I mentioned that you can avoid. And honestly, just avoiding a lot of the common mistakes is going to give you a significantly higher chance of succeeding. So there's things you can do to focus on to succeed, but a lot of the mistakes that people make are really what prevent them from having success with this. And again, these systems are proven. We've tested them. You should be able to make a lot of money using these systems and have a good income for yourself. They're pretty much, as close to plug and play as you can get. And you just need to know a few things to make sure that you get the results out of them that are totally achievable. Now, the next thing we're going to cover is how to set your expectations. We're going to go over this a lot. Expectations are really, really critical in marketing. If I had to pick one thing that I'd say trips people up more than anything else, it's expectations in marketing. A lot of people who just don't have a whole lot of experience with marketing, or maybe they do have experience with marketing but just haven't figured this piece out yet. One of the big reasons they fail is having the wrong expectations. So I'm going to show you why people, have the wrong expectations and how to correct those so you set yourself up to succeed. We're going to talk about how to guarantee your success. And I really do think that you can pretty much guarantee your success with this program if you take careful notes on this training and pay really close attention. A lot of people mess up this outbound marketing. They mess up the generation of the most important thing in pretty much any business, which is the new flow of leads and potential sales and potential deals. And so this is the only thing, this outbound marketing, your marketing for your business is going to be the only thing that generates opportunities that can put cash in your pocket from this business. And so it's really important. If you're going to focus on anything in the business, this is what you want to focus on. So we're going to show you how to pretty much guarantee that you're successful with this program. And again, as you'll see, I really do think that's possible if you know what to look for and how to implement these systems properly. We've tested these systems. We have a very good understanding of how to get them to work, and we've used them for ourselves. So there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to get results. And the next thing we're going to talk about is basically just the two things that you want to focus on for results. And it's always good to kind of simplify some of this stuff down into the key factors that generate most of the results here. And so we're going to go over some of that information as well. Now, real quick before we jump into everything, I want to talk about what is outbound marketing. And here's just a real simple definition that we put together, which is outbound marketing is anything we do in our business to actively pursue potential deals through direct outbound efforts. And so the really exciting thing about outbound marketing that we're going to talk about here is that this is something, it's different than inbound marketing, which you may have heard of. Inbound marketing is like YouTube or a blog post or something. It's these types of marketing that companies do that, basically put information out there for people to see and interact with and then have to reach out to the company. So that's going to attract people to call in and come into the company. Outbound marketing is where we're actually actively reaching out to potential customers and potential people that we can do deals with to try to move those deals along and create opportunities for ourselves. So what's really exciting about that is you have a ton of control over the growth of your business when you master outbound marketing. If I had to say one thing that's responsible for, pretty much all of our business success and the different businesses we've engaged in over the years, it's pretty much mastering this outbound marketing as a skill, because again, it's the only thing that's going to grow the business. Nothing else is going to grow the business except your ability to generate new opportunities in your pipeline. So here's some examples of outbound marketing. You've got LinkedIn messaging, cold email, you've got Instagram messaging. All these are examples of ways of reaching out directly to potential people in your marketplace to generate opportunities and then close those opportunities and move them along the process to generate revenue and income for your company and yourself. You've got cold calling, direct mail. All these things have a lot of the same properties. They have a high degree of control. You can control who you send them to. You can control how much you send to them, and you can directly reach out to people. And so that's what outbound marketing is. That's why we're using it to grow our business. That's why we fundamentally believe this is one of the most powerful things you can learn in this training. If you master this here, it's going to serve you for years and years and years. It has for us. And these are just some examples of what that can look like. And the benefit to this training is that we've got trainings on how to successfully do this with proven systems on most of those channels that we went over. And we're going to be adding more and more of them as we go along and as we prove them for you guys. So here's some of the big benefits of organic outbound. The first one is that most of these methods are 100% free, and if you have to pay for any of them, it's like a minor cost. There's, cold email is pretty much free. If you want to send it from a business email, it might cost you like $10 a month to have a dot, whatever the business email is. Facebook is free. LinkedIn is basically free. If you want to get the paid program, you can get some advanced features, and it's like $60 a month. But it's very, very low cost. And what that means is that instead of having to spend thousands of dollars a month on ads, or do any of these much more expensive things to grow your business, you have the ability to invest more of your time early on in the growth of your business to generate opportunities. And later on, when you have less time than you have money, and you've got way more cash to put into the business, you'll be able to reinvest some of those funds to get some of your time back and outsource this. But to start, it makes sense to grow the business with these organic methods that are either free or very close to free. And so that's really exciting about them. It also means that your margins are going to be significantly bigger because for most companies, the marketing budget is a huge part of their costs. Now, the next thing is that they're scalable. And this is extremely exciting because it means that if you have a system that's able to generate you one deal per month, you're typically able to just quickly ramp up the amount of effort and energy that you're putting into that system to generate 2 or 3 or 4 deals a month, which means that you can also typically triple or double or whatever you want your income and your revenue for the company as well. And so it's extremely exciting to have systems that you have control over. I can tell you that once you get to the point where you have one of these systems in place and you know with consistency how much effort you need to put in to generate one result on the other side. So I need to send this many messages to generate one deal. It becomes very, very exciting because then you can just go to work sending the amount of messages to get the deals you need. It's almost just like knowing that you can mine for gold because you're going to know exactly what you need to do to get the outcome that you want. And the more you do, the more outcome you get, and the more you're able to generate revenue and income for your business and for yourself. And so a lot of people have struggled with generating systems like this. I can tell you we did a long time ago when we were figuring all this out for ourselves. But a huge benefit to this training here is that you're going to get the exact systems that we've used. There's going to be a little bit to get them to work for your particular market, to really dial them in. Everyone's got a little bit different approach, and so you've got to make them work for you. But you've got a huge head start by having these systems that we've already tested for you. And they are scalable to an extent. We just add that because some of the platforms obviously have a little bit of a limit because they don't want people sending too many messages on them. It also is, scalable to an extent because unlike paid advertising where you can just spend more and more money on ads to buy more and more space, eventually you're probably going to run out of hours in the day. But hopefully well before then, you should be able to hit 10, 20, 30K, 40K a month in income from your business. Now, the next thing we have here is massive ability to iterate fast. And this is a huge one that we're going to talk about a lot because it's kind of underutilized. If you can understand the value of this, you're going to be miles and miles ahead of a lot of people out there who even call themselves marketing professionals. This ability to iterate fast is going to be one of the most important things that you can do here because, as I said, these systems are basically very solid templates to get to work for this market and this industry and these kinds of deals and opportunities we're looking to generate. But you're going to have to get them to work specifically for you as well, depending on the small choices that you make about how you're going to set them up. And so as you go through, you're going to want to look at the feedback that you're getting. How are people responding to your messaging? How are the people that you choose to reach out to responding? And take that information and very quickly make modifications to your process so that you can get better results. And with paid advertising or things where you're not directly in the action, you don't have that same kind of ability to tap into what's going on, see the feedback quickly, and then the next message you send out can be slightly different to modify for it. So if you're getting bad feedback from your initial messages, you can take that feedback from your first couple of messages and then the next couple of messages send out a slightly different message to avoid saying something that wasn't the right thing to say or wording something incorrectly that didn't make sense to that market or industry. You're going to make the system better and better as you go and make it work better and better for you, which is going to make it hyper effective and give you sort of your own foothold in the market. So that's a really important one. The next thing is that they're completely controllable. We've kind of touched on this already, but to me, this is one of the most exciting things. There's nothing like having the ability to know without a shadow of a doubt that if you set a target for your business and how much money you want to have coming in, that you're just able to go out into the marketplace and generate that amount of revenue and that amount of income. And once you have one of these systems dialed in, it really becomes as simple as figuring out what the math is on how many actions you need to take, how many messages, how many connection requests you need to take, and then just getting to work and doing those messages and those outbound connections and everything that you need to do to push those deals forward. And when you have a system that you've fine-tuned, you've iterated on, and you've really got it dialed in for you, not only, like I said, are these systems free and scalable, you can take those systems and continue to scale them up and generate exactly what you want to generate for an outcome and for revenue and income for yourself and your business. So completely controllable is a huge benefit of these systems. And the next thing is that they're hyper-targeted for effectiveness. Now, advertising and other forms of, paid media have the ability to be pretty targeted now as well. But I'd say that they're still nowhere near as targeted as your own personal ability to go out on platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook and even cold email and specifically finding businesses that are ideal for what you're offering. And oftentimes, once you start a process like this, you're going to find that, hey, the last 3 or 4 deals, yeah, I'm in the real estate market, yeah, I'm in the construction market, but the last 3 or 4 deals that I've generated that went really easily for me, they were all looking for a construction company looking for this one piece of equipment and in this certain part of the country, or, this size business that was looking for a particular piece of equipment. You're going to have that information and you're going to be able to very, very specifically target those companies on pretty much all of these platforms. And there's ways to do that on all of them. And so this allows you to be way more targeted than a Facebook ad or something that may just go out to thousands of people. That you're kind of relying on the market to see an ad and have the ad be good enough to have that person decide to click on it. And it's got to go to thousands of people and maybe get you like 4 or 5 people. The economics that can still be good. But with this hyper-targeted approach, you're just able to get to the exact people you want on a very consistent basis and really focus in on them once you find that sweet spot for who you work best with. So now let's talk a little bit about why most people fail with organic outbound. And the first reason that a lot of people fail is, like I mentioned before, poor expectations. So the thing about expectations with marketing is that if you have the wrong expectations going into this, you're going to do 2 things. You're going to get frustrated, and you're also going to probably quit too soon. And both of those things are going to lead to you getting bad results and not getting the outcome that you want with these systems. So it's really important to have the right expectations. You can imagine if you went into like a car dealership or something with $1,000 to buy a brand new car, and your expectation was that you'd be able to buy a new car with this $1,000, and you got there and you were like, hey, I'd like to buy a car with this $1,000, and they turned you down, you're going to be frustrated, you're not going to walk away with a car, and it's just going to be a bad experience. If you have the right expectations going into anything, it's going to be much smoother and you're going to get much better results, and you're also going to stick with it long enough to make sure that you see those results come to fruition. So having the right expectations, which we're going to go over in a little bit, is very, very important. Now the next thing, and this is kind of related to poor expectations, is lack of persistence. And any of these systems, like I mentioned, are going to take a little bit of time for you to dial in to get them to work for you. There may be some pieces of information that you need to figure out how to get better at in terms of follow-up or targeting the right people. We've given you a really solid template and a huge head start, but you're going to have to get these systems to work for you by fine-tuning those rough edges and getting them to be set up specifically for you and the way that you approach things. So you need to be persistent with this, and a lot of people just quit too soon. The biggest determining factor that we've seen with people who get success with these kinds of systems is their ability to stick with it until it works. Sometimes you'll get lucky. You might try LinkedIn and it works immediately, and you might try Instagram and it doesn't work at all. Oftentimes, if you just stick with it, as I said before, these systems are tested already. You should be able to generate results on any of these platforms in pretty much any market. And some of them just might work better than others for your market, but you should be able to stick with it and figure it out and generate results. So it's really important to be persistent. The next thing is zero iteration. Again, this idea of continually improving your campaigns, modifying things to make them better. You don't want to just keep running into a wall. I see a lot of people who, just for the sake of trying to get a lot of things done and get them all out there, they send out these messages to people that aren't really qualified just to kind of hit their numbers that they set in their plan and all these sorts of things. And the end result is that they're just sending the same message over and over again to really the wrong people, and then they're surprised when they don't get great results with it. So it's really important to iterate, to pay attention to the feedback you're getting. If it's not working, stop doing what you're doing. It doesn't make sense to keep sending messages to people if they're not working. Take a look at what's going on and change it. Don't stop completely, but stop for a second just to look at what you're doing, and then make some changes and then keep going. And if you're smart and you look at what's happening, you should be able to figure out where the problem is. We're going to go over this a lot to show you how to guarantee results with this, and iterate until you get success. So it's really important to have persistence, and if you're persistent and keep iterating, then you're going to get success. Next thing is feeling overwhelmed. Like I said, with poor expectations, one of the things that can happen if it's not as successful as you'd like it to be as fast as possible is that you just get frustrated and you get overwhelmed. And that's a good way to zap all of your energy almost immediately. Trust me, I know we've been there multiple times. Both Gavin and I have been there multiple times. And it's not fun when what you're doing isn't working. You feel like you're spinning your tires and spending a lot of time on something that's not generating opportunities. But think of it as an investment. Every second that you spend trying to figure this out is not a waste. It's an investment in your ability to get to the system that works. And the people that persist are the ones that are able to actually, dig down to the gold and get to have that reward. If you quit too soon, then you just did a bunch of time digging in the dirt and you never actually got the reward. You just went through sweat and tiredness and you didn't actually get to have anything, in terms of the results. So it's really important to don't feel overwhelmed. Reach out to us. We're here to help you. We want these systems to work. It's a win-win for us if they do. Reach out to either Gavin or myself. Drop a comment on this training. Come back and review this training if you're struggling. We want these systems to succeed for you. Again, we've got no benefit to giving you systems that don't work. They're just going to require some finesse for you to get them to work for you specifically, and we're here to help you figure that out too. So reach out to us. And just try not to feel overwhelmed, because it's not going to help you really rationally work on implementing these systems for your business, and that's going to be the way that you're able to grow. So let's talk about how to set expectations for your success. So first of all, you probably picked up on this already, but expect to iterate. You're going to have to iterate. As I said, these are very solid templates that we've tested in multiple markets, and they should get you 90%, 80% of the way, 70% of the way there to get you started and get you contacting people, starting to get messages between people. But for you to figure out how to implement them for yourself perfectly, you're going to have to figure out some of those details. You're going to have to figure out even how to improve on them so that you can get better results for you and the market that you're going after, or your particular angle on the market. So this is as close to plug and play as we can get it, because everyone's a little bit different. But these systems are proven, and you should at least be able to have a good amount of confidence that if you work on this and iterate, then you're going to be able to get success with it. The next thing is expect massive volume. So this is one of the biggest things that I see people have the wrong expectations about, and really causes a lot of the failure for people that struggle with this kind of thing. It's expecting that you're going to be able to send out 3 or 4 messages and then have a deal funded by the end of the week. That's not the way this is going to work. Expect to do a lot of volume. In fact, I always plan for way, way more than we think is even going to be necessary. And what that does is that it sets our expectations to be pleasantly surprised instead of disappointed and frustrated when it doesn't even come close to our unrealistic expectations. And some people get lucky. We get people all the time that come in, send 5 messages, and in the first 5 they get a deal funded. Honestly, 90% of the time, that's just luck. So it's important to not expect yourself to get lucky every single time. It's important to just focus on doing what you can control, figure out the system, get to the point where it takes 100 messages to generate 1 deal, or even if it's 500 messages to generate 1 deal, or 1,000 messages to generate 1 deal. I'd much rather have it be 1,000 messages to generate 1 deal and know I can generate a deal with 1,000 messages, because all I have to do at that point is get to work sending out 1,000 messages. And that's what you're trying to get to. It doesn't matter what the number is. You just need to make sense of getting to that action point where you can see how many it takes to generate a deal. And if you're doing this properly and you follow all of our benchmarks, it should be much closer to that 100 mark. You may even get it lower than that. But the point is to just keep iterating and expect to have to send a lot of messages, especially while you're trying to figure it all out and you're getting better at follow-up and finding the right people to target and everything. Expect it to be worse in the beginning, but then expect it to improve significantly as you go through and stick with it. We always tell people to stick with any new marketing system for at least 90 days. It's something I've always followed, and it's been a massive boost to my success because I see a lot of other people who quit way too early on a campaign. And because of that, they don't stick with it long enough to figure out how it all works and put the pieces together. So expect to iterate, expect massive volume. The next thing is expect follow-up. This is another huge one. You need to follow up with people. And, don't think that you're being annoying or frustrating ever. These are business people that have a lot going on. Your ideal potential prospects probably have a good business and they've got a lot going on. So it's going to be important for you to follow up, not to be frustrating or irritating to them, but just to say, hey, just so you know, I'm still here. Just wanted to follow up with you. Wanted to see if you got a chance to look at that paperwork. Wanted to see if you got a chance to look at that message. It's really simple and easy. And honestly, more often than not, I get messages from people when we do this where they're thanking us for following up with them. And a lot of people will say, hey, thanks for following up with me. We've just been super busy. I totally wanted to reach out to you. And what happens is people also, it starts to get more difficult for them to respond to you if you're not following up because they know that they've brushed it aside and they forgot about it. And they feel bad that they didn't get back to you. So it's important to just really nicely reach out to them. Don't expect that they're ignoring you until someone actually says hey, I'm not interested. Follow up with them. Say, hey, did you see my message? I reached out to you last week. Just want to see if you got a chance to review that. If they reply to your message and they see the message but then don't respond, again, maybe they just read it and they were in the middle of doing something else. Send them a message a day later and say, hey, just want to see if you got a chance to see this, and then keep moving the conversation forwards. They don't really owe you anything until you guys are actually doing business together and you have a deal on the table. So until then, it's going to be your responsibility to follow up with them. And the people that miss out on this follow-up piece are really leaving so much money on the table. You're going to close 3, 4, 5 times as many deals out of every single batch of contacts that you generate and leads that you generate if you just follow up with these people and help push more of them through. So now we're going to talk about how to guarantee your success. And this is really one of the biggest things that we learned that helped grow our business and attract way more deals to our business and really improve our incomes and everything about our lives. And that's basically how to guarantee your success with these kinds of marketing systems. A lot of it's what we've talked about already, but I want to show you exactly how to think about this so you can set yourself up to succeed with any of these marketing systems that you implement and really generate the revenue and the income targets that you have. I know what it feels like to set targets and then not hit them, especially when it's happening month over month and even year over year. It's one of the worst things ever to set goals and then not hit the goals, even though you feel like you worked super hard. And hopefully this training here, I really think this is, the distillation of years and years of lessons from us to really figure this out. And hopefully we're able to transfer some of that over to you so we can cut that learning time down significantly. So the first thing is that you want to take massive action on these systems. A lot of people that get into these programs, they take very small amounts of action. Something there's some absurd number of people that get into programs and don't even watch the first video. It's over 70 or 80%. I don't remember the exact number, but it's very, very high. Most people that get a book don't even read the first page. Don't be one of those people if you want to get the results. The people who get results finish the books. The people that get results finish the programs. The people who get results take action on the books and the programs. So expect to take massive action. Take massive action on these. Don't just do a small amount. Don't just do 10 to feel messages a day to feel good about it. Do 100. Do 500. Do as many as you possibly can, because that's going to be something you have control of. If you want to change your circumstances and generate more income and revenue, there's no reason why you couldn't generate $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month with this business. It's all going to come down to the amount of action that you put in. So take a ton of action, put the time in here now so that later on, you can have the time to reinvest in other things because the business is up and running and successful. Really take the time here to get this up and running and understand this, because you have a huge opportunity right now. And we see people every single week that are coming in and able to get success with these systems, and there's no reason you shouldn't be one of them. Now, the next thing is ask questions and get feedback. Like I said before, we're here to help you. We want these systems to work. So if you're not getting great success with them, if you're not seeing the results that you need, don't get frustrated. Reach out to us. But then more importantly, what this is about is while you're reaching out to people, if someone says, hey, I'm not interested, you need to ask them for feedback. If you come to us and you ask us for help, we're going to ask you, have you reached out to the people that you messaged and asked them why they weren't interested or why they gave you the response that they did? Most people will give you a response to that question. And it's important for you to know what's going on. If you don't have that feedback, there's only so much we can do to help you. So you'll need to know, like, if someone says to you, like, hey, I'm just not in the market for this. This isn't the ideal industry. A lot of people that you reach out to will tell you exactly what you need to know to improve. And they're honestly going to be able to help out even more than we will in some cases, because they're going to tell you exactly, maybe it's your approach, maybe it's who you're targeting specifically, whatever it is, they're going to tell you what you need to know. So ask questions of the people you're reaching out to and get feedback from them. And the next thing is iterate and then improve on that feedback. So, it's the standard tested process of take action, get feedback on that action, and then iterate to improve it. And if you keep running that loop around, taking action, getting feedback, improving, and then taking more action and looping through that, you're going to get results. And it pretty much guarantees that you're going to be successful. And the next thing you need to do is follow up relentlessly at all stages. Again, so many people I see just have this bucket that they're trying to fill with water, and water's just leaking out every hole of the bucket. There's all these holes in it, and none of the water's staying in, because they're doing all this work on the front end. And it is a lot of work to generate opportunities. You got to send a lot of messages. You got to get a lot of conversations going to be able to find the one or two out of a big pile of people that are ready to do a deal right now. But following up with people is going to expand that out to like the 10 or 15 that are ready to do a deal either right now or sometime in the near future. So there's a lot of deals that if you stay in touch with them, they're going to convert 1 month, 2 months, 3 months down the road. So anybody that shows interest, you want to stay in touch with. Anybody that's shown any amount of interest or even talking to you or even just replied, you want to keep pushing them along. See how far you can get those deals to go down the pipeline. The really good people at this are extremely efficient with the number of contacts that they generate and how many of them go through the process because they follow up relentlessly. So that's a very, very important one. Now, the next thing is to execute these tactics on multiple channels. I'd say this is a really big one as well, because as you'll learn in another video we've got here, multiple channels really helps diversify your efforts. You don't want to get in a position where you're just doing LinkedIn and then 3 months later you've struggled to generate deals on LinkedIn and it's gone okay but not really well. And then you get on Facebook and it's a completely different experience. You're generating multiple deals a week and you're like having tons of success with it. Every platform's different. Again, every person's different. You might just work better on a specific channel, even though, we've got systems that work for all of these different markets on all of these channels. But it could just be that one of those platforms is better for you and the way you approach people and who you choose to target and things like that. So it's important to have different channels to test them to make sure that you find the right one for you and the right one for your business, and run those on those different channels until you're certain you have the most successful one, and you can scale that single channel up. And sometimes you may even want to run more than one channel to make sure that you have diversity, and if one channel stops working, you've got another system in place. And the next thing here is just to stay calm and keep pushing forwards, and then finally have the right expectations. So some of the stuff we covered before, but basically, none of this stuff you should be frustrated about. If you're having issues with something, it's very simple to diagnose what's going on with these systems. That's how I can say that we can guarantee you'll be successful with them. Because if you think about it, let's say you're sending connection requests out to people on one of these platforms, or you're sending a message, or you're trying to get someone on a call with you. There's only a few reasons why someone might not respond to a message request. And so if you break it down, then you can figure out the one or two things that you need to work on to potentially improve that. So if you're not getting connections, for example, there's only one or two things that are going to impact that. It's going to be who you're sending the request to. So obviously, if you send them to people who aren't the right fit at all, you're not going to get a connection. And then it's what you say to them. And there's not really that much else. Maybe your picture on a particular platform has a small impact on that. Maybe your bio on a platform or your headline image. But all those things are pretty minor. The main things are who you send it to and what you're saying to them. And if that's not working for any reason, it's very easy to take a look at it and figure out, okay, maybe I can improve the people I'm sending it to. And you can try that. And if that doesn't fix it, you can say, maybe I'll improve what I'm saying to them and take a look at different things I could say or different approaches. And typically, if you just get to work on taking a look at the different things that impact it and making a few simple changes, it's a very short period of time before it starts working and you're able to focus on the next step of the process. And maybe it just opens up immediately and you're funding deals, or maybe you're getting people interested, but now they're not getting on a call. Maybe they're not, they're interested, but they're not actually going through and completing the entire process. Whatever it is there, as you just look at the different stages and figure out what's going on, what impacts this, maybe you just need to follow up more at a certain point. If you keep working on this and don't just expect it to work immediately out of the box, but expect to have to tinker with it and get it to work and stay calm while you do, you're going to be guaranteed to succeed with this program, and you're going to be guaranteed to get the results that you want. And if you've invested any amount of time and effort and energy into anything in the past and it didn't work out, and you don't want this to be the same, and you want to be able to generate the results you want, I guarantee you can succeed with this, because these are proven systems. They've worked for other people. There's no reason they shouldn't work with you. This isn't complicated stuff. You're just looking for businesses that want to get funded, or want funding in some sort. And, all you need to do that is reach out to people, find businesses that are looking for funding, and then, show them what you've got to offer, because we have very competitive programs. And that's pretty much it. You don't need really complicated stuff. A lot of these systems are really simple, but it may take a little bit of effort to figure out how specifically to structure them for your market. So stay calm, keep pushing forwards, and have the right expectations. A lot of what we cover here is just expectations, because I really think that having the right expectations will prevent you from quitting too early, getting frustrated, getting stressed when you don't need to be, and it's going to help you get better results overall. So that's it for this training. I really, really hope you found this super helpful. Again, we want you to succeed with these outbound systems. We are really committed to your success with this program and to you generating the results that you want for your business and for your life, your income and your revenue. And I hope you found this helpful. If you've got any questions at all about this training, or about what you need to look for when generating your own outbound, or just about outbound in general, put it in the comments below this video. Let me know if you have any questions, or if there's anything in this that really made sense to you and you think is going to help improve your chances of succeeding. And that's pretty much it. Take care.